Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus.
What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus episode 175. I'm your host as always, I'm Dan. I'm joined by my co-host as always, it's Samson. How you doing, my friend? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. Had some folks over, got in a lot of multiplayer gaming, and had a great time, particularly with Towerfall Ascension.
Oh, very good, very good. Very good. Towerfall Ascension, is that on the flat screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played that game, actually. It's been a long time. It came out a while ago.
It's on all the flat screens.
Yeah.
In fact, it's 6-player on the Switch.
It came out when PS4 came out. It was on like PlayStation Plus when it really early, like maybe the first fourth week or something like that, or first month or so of when the PS4 came out. So I remember playing it a lot. Good time. Definitely better with friends, but good time.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Very, very, very good. Samson, we got a bit of a jam-packed show today. Okay, we have quite a lot of comments to go through. A few VR news stories, which are really exciting ones, some of them. And then we got a fun little topic, and then we've played a few games as well. So buckle up, everybody. We've got not sure if a long one, but definitely a jam-packed one, we'll say. So let's start off straight away. Housekeeping quickly. Discord, if you've not joined already, what are you doing? There's a link in the description below. Come join us in there. There's tons of people in there now, and they're all constantly chatting and setting up games. And we've been doing this Walkabout tournament, which it's on season 8 right now. Samson, do you want to talk about what that is?
I'd love to talk about it, Dan. I would love to talk about it. Because the Walkabout tournament is the Let's Talk Oculus Walkabout tournament that we run here at the Let's Talk Oculus podcast. And now it is headed by Healing Entree, who took the reins, and what a job they have done. And the week 8 courses for week 2 are Labyrinth Easy and Seagull Stacks Hard. So if you want to join in, come on down to Discord, submit those scores to Healing Entree, or me if you want. I'll forward them along. They're due by March 3rd at midnight Eastern time.
Nice.
And Dan, you want me to do some results from week 1? Or
maybe we don't need to do results because they're already up there. But why don't we just say who the top one was for each
the
mode.
Top one. All right, the top one. If we did the top 3, I would have made it in. But here we are. Top 1 score mode for Viva Las Elvis was the easy course. Parody for Life got -15. Holy cow. And the race mode winner was Healing Entree, of course, with 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Wowzers.
Nice.
Then the hard mode was Gardens of Babylon, and this course is very, very hard. Very hard.
Especially the hill hole, the one that's just like straight up on hard as well. There's no like points to stop at. You just got to hit it right up there.
Dan, there are several holes that can really just screw you over on this one for sure. And the hill one is definitely one of them. But number 1, Parody for Life got -8.
Unbelievable.
Incredible stuff. And race mode, Parody for Life, pulled ahead, got number 1. 6 minutes and 52 seconds.
Wow. Yeah.
Wild.
Wow. That's tough. That's tough. A race mode on hard is really difficult because they're not easy holes. Like it's actually easier if you just play normally and try and be safe and such than try and go for it on a hard horse, to be honest. But hey,
Seagull Stacks Hard that's another tough one.
that's going to be tough. We've also got the Walkabout Thursdays that we play as well. We have quite a few people in there. I think I wasn't in the last one, but I think there was like five of you, right, or 4 of you in the last Thursday.
Dan, I think there might have been 6 of us.
Oh, again, see, there you go. So if you are new to Walkabout, or if you've never played before, or if you're a seasoned veteran, on Thursdays, normally at 7 p.m. Eastern, sometimes later. I think last time it was later.
Yeah, no, there was 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah, I think we had to delay.
I forgot it was, I forgot it was that one.
We had to delay that one last time, but normally 7 p.m. Eastern. So come on down to the Discord if you want to play some Walkabout on that. And plus, as some of you know, or some of you don't know, if you're new to Walkabout, if you don't have the DLC courses, that's absolutely fine. If you play with one of us who have all of their courses, you can have guest mode on, so you can still play those courses. You just can't keep the balls if you find them, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Dan, next week we'll probably play the new course. On the 6th.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get onto that in our news for sure. But there is a new course, which is going to be very, very exciting. Moving on, let's talk about the Patreon real quick. If you want to support us, it's patreon.com/letstalkoculus@gmail.com. Wait, no, that's the email mixed into it. Let's Talk Oculus is the handle after the patreon.com. The link is just in the description. Just click that. It's late. We're recording this late and a little bit tired. But yeah, if you want to throw us $1, go for it. And if you want to throw us $5 or more, you'll get this episode a day early. Samson, let's talk about comments, because we've got a lot of comments this week. Now, you can send us comments in various different ways. And in fact, I have comments from Spotify here, from YouTube, from our Discord, and actually that's it. But you can also email us as well at letstalkoculus@gmail.com if you want that extra way, which no one has. It's all from the other options. Samson, let's kick this off. You want to go with the
mail time?
You want to go with the first comment that we might have?
I'd love to. TP comes in from Spotify. As of late, it seems like everyone is starting to realize that the Quest Store is in a bad state. The shutting down of Toast Interactive highlights this fact. Hopefully, the cries from the VR community are not falling on deaf ears. Great discussions on this episode. Always great to see folks in the Meta Creators program be able to share their open and honest thoughts. The pod is one of the reasons why I always look forward to Fridays. Keep up the great work. P.S. Quake 3 VR rocks. It sure does.
Amen to that, right? That was for last week's episode, where we obviously talked about the state of Quest and if we were worried about the Quest 4 and such. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Just a quick thing, though. He mentions folks in the Meta Creators program. We're not officially in the Meta Creators program. We're in the an affiliate program, so there are some stuff, but not like the official creators program. But yeah, just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, thanks TP, thanks for your comment, and obviously always your comments. He's on the Discord as well. Next comment is also in relation to last week's episode. This is from Jeff on Spotify. He says they need to build a 3D fully immersive version of the Quest Store and make it reminiscent of the old Game Store or Blockbuster, where you can pick up a game box, the normal window of the game summary pops up. They should have different racks in different categories. They could have maybe a different room that you can go into the app lab or beta games, and then maybe a dude out the back with the trench coat to show you the games in early development. For real, why are they approaching a VR need with a 2D approach? Thanks for your comment, Jeff. I think it's a valid question, but I think it makes sense. I've seen a lot of people, obviously with the Apple Vision Pro being very new. I'm seeing a lot. I follow a few people on Twitter and on Reddit and such, and a lot of new developers are creating apps for it, but they are very just having an iPad app just in VR and such. And it's like, you have VR, it's a completely different medium. Why not take advantage of what you have in here? And I think it's just the 2D approach is sometimes just a very simplistic approach and the easy approach for people. The pros to having a 2D approach for most of the menu system is that it's very easy for someone to understand because if they've not been in VR. But I also agree with you that maybe not take it as far as a Blockbuster and such. I feel like that's when someone can jailbreak the Quest and kind of create their own version of a UI. I can see that happening, but I understand what you're saying. I feel like they need to dive more deeper into having when you go onto the Batman store page and then the environment changes to the Batcave and such, right? they need to have more of those kind of aspects to make the store feel more interactive and use the features that the VR has, for sure. I think it just like it takes a lot of thinking, brain power to really think about, and try and not many people have done that before. So these are all new ideas. So hopefully, maybe I'm interested when Steam come out with their Decade, maybe they'll come out with something interesting in terms of a UI approach. But it's interesting. Meta's approach is obviously 2D, and it looks like they're doubling down on that. We'll see what other companies are going to do when they get into the scene. Any thoughts on this, Samson?
Yeah, I've got a thought or two. I do like the idea of some sort of 3D thing, like with the Batman aspect, or some sort of maybe a way to get a sense or the aura or a vibe of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That said, it's like, who does that, right? Because with Batman, that's a meta-funded program, right? That was clearly, they made sure that happened. Whereas your average indie dev isn't going to want to dedicate the time to, hey, what's our store thing going to be? You know what I'm saying?
Especially when,
Meta's not going to do that because they're like, we don't know, or maybe it's something Meta could offer, like, hey, we'll do this for you if for some, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember like on the PlayStation 4, I want to say, maybe this was 3 as well, but when they had a new UI, every time you like highlight the game like takes over the whole page, like with a big background and such, and it's really cool and it's quite nice.
Like a wallpaper,
yeah, and they still do that today. I know this takes a little bit more effort, it being like a 3D aspect of it, but yeah, I don't know why Meta wouldn't push for that, because it would be nice. But then at the same time, Samson, we obviously don't see the data. So it might just be the fact that most people buy their games through the 2D app on the phone, like through the mobile app. Like if
you put it in Horizon Worlds.
Do you want that?
No.
There we go.
Put the 3D store in Horizon Worlds.
Yeah, if you wanted to have like a portal and such and whatnot. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think there is. He's onto something, Jeff, for sure. I definitely agree with you. Especially, okay, maybe not the Quest store and such, but definitely like when you boot up a new game, like developers definitely should think about how to do their UI more with VR and such, rather than just having 2D menus. I agree with that, and there's a lot of games that do take advantage of it, to be honest.
They want people in Horizon Worlds more. What better way than force
you to buy your apps through there? Oh my gosh. Anyway, we should be like a positive podcast today. Moving on to the next comment, Samson.
My turn. Caleb of NYC, LTO 172 from YouTube, loved the VR Outlaws game idea. There's a lot of growth potential for an idea like this. I see why you went all the way back to 172 to pull this comment here.
He just posted it this week. That's why I saw it. And I was like, well, I'm putting this in because this is the game that I came up with. That was a really fun episode, though. So if some of you haven't seen or listened to it yet, LTO 172, me and Samson create our own VR game idea. So thanks, Caleb. That's all I wanted to throw in there. Okay, next comment is from Baroque Dub, if I've said that correctly. This is via LTO 173, and it's on the Discord itself. Actually, this is a question for you, Samson. So, Samson, perhaps a review of UE VR would be cool. Not had much chance to delve into it too deep, but I hear that some of the best ports and playing seated, and some of the best ports are played seated, and sometimes even with a gamepad or keyboard. Samson, this directed you. I don't have a PC, so obviously I can't try this. But have you tried any UE VR at all?
Not in a minute, but I have done like the Crash Bandicoot, the Spyro. What was the something Rush?
Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. It was pretty. And none of these I played through, but I've spent it, I don't know, at least a few hours on them all combined. What else? The fighting games are pretty good too, like Soul Calibur. I think Marvel game. The Marvel.
How does the fighting games work? Are they just in 2D and you're kind of just in there, or are you actually fighting?
No, the new fighting games they take place in like 3D worlds. You can rotate and such, so you're just like the camera in there.
Oh, I see.
The fight's taking place in front of you.
Oh, I see. That's cool. Well, Samson, looks like you got some homework to do, and maybe you got to play some more to give like a more of an updated review of it. I'm assuming you need I know you have got a beefy PC, but I'm assuming you need one to run. And
my PC isn't quite beefy anymore. I mean, it definitely gets
that's true. That's true. Every year it depreciates big time.
I'm now 2 generations behind.
Yeah. Well, if they're coming out with a new graphics card every single year, it's like it's crazy. It's crazy how quickly you go behind. But they should run UEVR just fine.
I can't run new games, but yeah, these like old games.
That's mad. The life of the PC gamer. Okay, next question is from Upper Squared. He put this in the questions on Discord, and he put open questions from a first-time poster here. How do folks discover new independent titles and apps? If the Quest Store isn't helping, where or how our developers get more engagement and interaction for their work? And before we get into our thoughts on this, there was a response from Kimikai in the Discord, longtime patron of the show. She put, I find most through VR podcasts and meta sales. Unfortunately, in both cases, the developer has to sacrifice revenue, and there is still no guarantee of it being seen. I follow VR YouTubers, social media accounts, developers, studios, enthusiasts, and I join a lot of Discords. I come across a lot of apps, all types that way. I feel like Kimikai might be a bit of an outlier here because she's like the VR enthusiast, right? In terms of VR, but I think in terms of like just your average VR casual user, it's I mean, this was the problem that we've been talking about in a few episodes, right? Like it's quite difficult for people to get behind. It also just depends on your game. You think about something like Walkabout, they don't do any marketing, and it's all word of mouth.
They get storefront. That's what it all happens in those lists of like the top 10 apps that are
that's true.
Top 10 free apps, top 10 paid apps. Other filtered other categories.
Yeah, they're always in there.
Dan, I noticed you took 2 questions there in a row. Just saying.
Well, was this no? Did I say both? Oh, did it? Oh, my bad. My bad.
I know you're tired. It's okay. Anyway, and thank you for responding, Kim. That was pretty good.
I don't really have much to add. I was like thinking about this because he posted this a few days ago or so, and I was like, I don't know, because I get most of my like news from Upload VR. I follow some VR like YouTubers and like some people in the scene for sure on my Twitter, but I don't really see many games that way, to be honest. So I'm normally just looking at Upload VR. I watch the obviously because of the podcast and just in general, I watch the VR gaming showcases and all those, like the Upload VR winter showcase and such. Like I watch all of those, or at the very least, I'm skimming through them if I missed them and such. So that's always the best way I see, is to kind of just look at those ones and kind of just. Upload VR is a really good website. Road to VR is really good too, and they sometimes don't really cross over with their articles. Sometimes they're very different ones.
Yeah.
So Road to VR and Upload VR I'd probably recommend, in terms of they're like your, in a way, IGN and GameSpot ish for VR and such. But they're really good, especially like Upload VR I use quite a lot, especially for like the VR news for this podcast, and they sometimes have editorial pieces where they go into their own opinions, and they sometimes highlight random games. Like sometimes they have sponsored posts, but sometimes they aren't. They just find like random like titles and such that look interested to them, and they do an article on them and or hands-on and such. So yeah, that's all I can say, is try and get go onto there. But yeah.
Outside of like setting yourself a Google alert for MetaQuest game release or something like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just not as much exposure, but you can, if you're looking for it, you can definitely find new little games and such. Excellent. All right, that's all of our comments. So thanks to
Thank you.
everyone who sent comments. Remember, you can do that in Spotify, YouTube, Discord, and the email address, although I don't think many people would use that one anyway. But yeah.
Should we set up a PO box so we can get snail mail?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll set up a pigeon too. We'll do one of those as well, you know. Okay, let's go into the VR news. There's quite a few, but they're all kind of like little ones. They're mostly like game updates and such.
Crumbs.
So yeah, so let's start off with the first one, which is actually the latest news story by the time we're recording this. Walkabout Mini Golf Mount Olympus announcement. Samson, I'll let you read the little brief here because I took your comment away.
Dan, I actually have newer news to add that I just discovered tonight too, but we'll get into that at the end. Yeah. Walkabout Mini Golf Mount Olympus announcement. Summon the strength to ascend Mount Olympus, legendary realm of the gods and goddesses. Here, Olympians converge to determine the fate of mortals. Through an epic mini golf odyssey, putt your way through intricate temples, mythical landscapes, and challenging hazards on March 6th.
Next week, right? Yeah.
Next week.
It's already March, pretty much.
Marching forward.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about the setting. Great idea. I actually never thought of it, but I'm really excited.
Who's your favorite god or goddess?
That's a good question.
Maybe we'll stay tuned for next time. You want to think about it for a week?
No, I gotta go with Hercules. Okay. Just because of all the Disney stuff, to be honest, growing up. But also, I'm a big Zeus fan. I love the, and I think mostly just because I love the lightning bolts to throw. And I tweeted this actually. We haven't had chat. We haven't got at this moment of recording, just to be quite discreet, because we normally get this early. We haven't got access to the game, so I can't speak anything about it because I don't know anything about it. But I'm really hoping that the putter is a lightning bolt. Like I just want a putter and then the lightning bolt for the whole of the shaft, and then I don't know whatever's going to be at the end. But that's what, or a cloud. A cloud can be at the end. That could be the putter head, could be the cloud. The lightning bolt could be the rod. Yeah, but then that might be the similar.
No, that could just be the head. The head could just be the little cloud with a lightning bolt.
It could be, yeah. I want the whole thing, but
I understand.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. I'm excited to go through. We'll do a bit of a review on it next week, I'm sure. Any thoughts, Samson, on this announcement? Are you excited?
Yeah, Dan. I am as excited as ever.
Very good. Are you what's your Greek god? What's your favorite Greek god? I never asked you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was gonna say Mars or Ares, if you will, the god of war. Just that's the one that like stuck in my head most from child learning about this stuff as in grade school. I took Latin, so I feel like I learned a lot more about like the Roman gods than I did the Greek gods.
That's fair. I learned most of this stuff from God of War, I'm not gonna lie. And that's when I say God of War, I'm talking about the original ones, not the newer ones, because he's finding all the gods there and such. And there's what is the god Nike, which is Nike, obviously.
Yes.
That there's a statue in the Louvre in Paris where it's like the winged eagle. It's not a winged eagle, sorry, the like winged woman basically, but she has no head on this statue. I love that statue. I think it's really cool. I actually saw it last October when I was there. And it's just it's massive, and it's just a really cool one. So
where's the picture in the Discord?
Yeah, that's true. I can put a picture up. When this episode goes live, I'll put a little picture up. And if I don't, Samson, remind me. It's on you. But I'm excited about this. We'll obviously talk about it more next week when we do have a chance to play it, and we'll do a full spoiler-ish / spoiler-free review next Friday. This is next one's a really fun one. RacketClub is expanding.
Why don't you take a swing at it?
RacketClub is expanding with pickleball and table tennis. So this is coming real soon. I actually don't have the date. Actually, I think by the time you already listened to this, it's already out. The game's already been updated, and they've already. And we haven't touched on this before because I haven't been in RacketClub for a while, but they've already added a few like unique games to this. Obviously, racquetball kind of felt like pickleball / squash put together in a way.
It had pickleball on the side. It was sort of in beta, but then it had normal RacketClub, and then it had badminton, sort of.
It's called spin mitten, yeah.
Yep. And then I think that was all.
That's all. Third? Yeah, no, that was it. Yeah, that's it. But now they've added
table tennis is interesting. Move over 11. What you got?
Yeah, I'm excited what they're doing to it because like it's a really good RacketClub. RacketClub. I was about to say racquetball. It's a really fun game. I had a great time, and the mixed reality in it was really, really good. And they're constantly adapting on this, and they're making this into a proper just like racket sport game, which makes sense with the title. But I didn't know that they were going to expand to this, to be honest.
When I got decently into it, I felt like there was always about 1.5 lobbies going whenever I tried to play.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, maybe one day they add tennis, but maybe that didn't work. Maybe that's why they've done RacketClub with like the tennis within like a box, because it makes more sense, to be honest, in VR. In terms of sizing, but I'm excited to jump into. I'll try and jump in next time. I haven't had a chance to do it before this pod, but
I think you'll ace it.
Moving on to the less pun heavy news story. Just a quick one here. The Meta launched a $1 million competition starting March 1st to create Horizon Worlds. They're also getting rid of the VR editor, so you'll no longer be able to create any Horizon Worlds within VR, but they're going to release or are releasing alongside with this competition a much, much more powerful desktop editor where you can also code in there. You can do a bit of code in the VR editor, I'm pretty sure, but this is more of like a game engine kind of development tool, and it's going to be in beta. So they're hoping with this new development tool and this new competition that a lot of people are going to be interested in creating worlds directly in Horizon.
I feel like that takes it from your average kid being able to make one of these to not that.
No, but that's probably a good thing for them because they want to create more high quality stuff, and maybe they've reached a limit in VR, especially in a standalone VR headset, to make it. It'd be cool if this editor, and it might do, I don't know, I'm not really planning to jump into it myself, but it'd be cool in the editor if you could just hook this up to your Quest and just, go through it in VR as well. So it has still the hybrid, but you just need the desktop version just to, do it more powerfully, and maybe you could beta test that way. So yeah, I've seen a lot of backlash online about this. A lot of developers not happy that they're going this route because if they create stuff for this, you can't really port it to anything else, and it's kind of locked on this platform. And if this platform dies, then your app that you've just spent so long dies. And then, in terms of the revenue streams, it looks kind of risky and all that stuff. I've seen a lot of backlash with that. We're going to keep this as a positive podcast since we've had a lot of lukewarm / negative stories, recently on Horizon Worlds and such. But that's all I got to say with that, to be honest. Anything else, Samson?
No.
Do you want to say the next news story?
Yeah, I'd love to because it has to do with Among Us. Among Us VR is rebranding as Among Us 3D. It will be now cross-platform with the flat screen on Steam. It does not cross-play with the normal Among Us flat screen. That still remains its own ecosystem. There's no current release date, but it will introduce a new in-game currency called Stardust, which the flat game has a currency, I believe, called beans, or they added some sort of weird things like this. I don't know. I think it's so you're not directly buying things. You buy that, and then you have to buy a little bit extra.
Of course, the classic.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
I'm sure it's all very fine and fair. But it is great. I will say it is great
Yeah.
that you can play this flat screen or in VR. That's a good thing. It's an interesting thing to be able to play flat, like first person on the flat screen, because I've never done that. That's pretty cool. And I'm hoping that maybe this will get some of my old flat screen Among Us friends back into. Maybe I can get them to play first person Among Us.
Does this mean? Yeah. I was about to say. I'm assuming then the 3D version is first person because otherwise, that
the
would make
vision
sense.
would get weird.
Well, it would just be advantage for people on PC and Steam, right? Because then they will be able to see everyone around you rather than the people in first person VR being blindsided what's behind you. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So essentially with the 3D and 2D ones, it may sound a bit confusing at the start, but they're just branching in two different directions. One's a 2D one where you're playing third person, and 3D is you're playing first person, and then that one's with VR, the 2D one that you can play on your phone and on your computer still. That still gets locked on that platform because of the view angles. It makes a lot of sense. They did announce as well, I didn't put it in the news story, but they came out with their roadmap and such, which didn't have any exactly in terms of what's coming next and such. It's just more, we're going to have new modes, there's new tasks, there's new limited time events, there's going to be more wardrobe stuff, there's been more collabs with other games and such. But yeah,
I did see a picture of the card swipe task, which is a task that's in the flat screen Among Us.
Yeah, exactly. That was in the trailer as well with the 3D version as well. So yeah, I think it's a good move. Moving on, next news story, Orion Drift is out right now as early access. This is from the studio behind Gorilla Tag. It's basically a zero gravity sports game. People compared it to Echo VR.
No, it's not. It's not zero gravity.
No,
it's got like Gorilla Tag movement kind of, but you do have jet buttons, so you can get in the air more.
But it's not like you're floating. Or
you're definitely not floating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, it uses gorilla arm swing locomotion, like you said, minimal controller inputs. You can just grab items. That's all you can. You can play as customizable robots across a space station social hub, and it supports up to 200 players simultaneously, which is
pretty crazy. That's wild. And to deal with all that ping and whatnot, that's crazy. Friend of the show, Noble Squashy, did stream this on Tuesday, February 25th. If you're looking for some footage of this game, go to his YouTube page. I think it's YouTube / Noble Squashy. But
yeah, nice little plug there.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, it's also, there was a comment actually that I didn't add earlier in this section. Banana Bandana put in a comment from the last episode. Basically, they were just kind of saying that this game is out as well. And you could have downloaded it earlier if you wanted to, but
I do love
now play it with other people.
I do love how Brits say banana.
But what do you say? Oh, banana? Banana.
Have you heard of the movie Bananas?
Bananas? No. No, bananas. Bananas. I think some Brits will say it like that, but maybe like in certain areas. But no, I'm definitely a banana. Although like stuff like grass and glass and bath, I say like that, where a lot of people say bath and grass and glass, so I'm not London posh right there.
I see.
But for some reason bananas just I don't know, it's a complex language. Moving on, last two game updates to say here. The Alien patch that we've talked about last week got delayed until this week, so hopefully it's finally out now. It's meant to be a big patch because there was a lot of issues with the standard Quest 3 version, but just to tell you what the three major things are, they're going to add greater atmosphere and immersion with numerous fixes. There's going to be blood in the environment, and doesn't exist at the moment. Tighter visuals, they've addressed minor bugs like popping and adjusted the fog color and intensity, whatever that means, and performance improvements. They've reduced the chance of encountering performance drops during combat. So it sounds all good. Hopefully it delivers. It's just a shame that it wasn't there on day one, because first impressions always make a big deal when it comes to games, to be honest. But hopefully it's improved.
It was such a big patch, it took an extra week.
Exactly. And then finally, Samson, maybe one for you. On Drums Rock, they added the Linkin Park DLC. In the end, Numb, Faint, One Step Closer, and Somewhere I Belong. The classics, let's be honest. They're like 5 absolute classic songs right there. All been added to Drums Rock, which is a massive DLC. I mean, Drums Rock started to get some big ones. I think they've added Green Day at some point. They had like Cyberpunk 2077 like soundtrack or so in there and such. They've had like some big DLCs.
You played this one? I don't play this one.
I don't have this game, no.
Yeah.
I don't have this game. Smash Drums was the only drum game I needed, to be honest. But no, have you played Drums Rock at all?
I mean, I got Ragnarok too. I feel like I got one other drum.
That one's very different.
Paradiddle, but that's also very different. Yeah, I don't have Drums Rock. It's like I feel like the drumming niche was filled for me already.
Yeah, sometimes you can have enough drumming games.
I don't know. Maybe I'll keep an eye on this. Yeah,
DLCs can always sway you, right?
This is a good DLC.
It's a great DLC. So like it's DLCs that can really sway you. You know, it doesn't matter if you have like 1 or 25 different drum games. If they all got different DLCs, maybe 25 is a bit crazy, but you know what I mean. You know, it's gonna like tempt me. Like I would be tempted for this. This will be really cool to play, for sure. So maybe I will pick it up. Maybe I will. By the way, I refunded BoneLab. Had too many bugs.
Really?
Yeah, I had too many bugs. I was just having issues with it. And also, the other reason why I refunded BoneLab is because when I said what the price was on the podcast last week or so, I thought it was like $25, $26 US. I think it was actually $35 US. I thought it was Canadian dollars. And then when I saw my bank account, it was like $50 Canadian dollars. And I was like, I'm not paying
even
50.
on sale.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not paying $50 for this, so I refunded it. I was like, maybe in a future like heavy sale, but I was already having too many bugs, and I was like, it's okay, it's not worth it. Anyway,
well, Dan, hold on, I got one last thing because just yesterday, Triangle Factory tweeted, they retweeted their tweet from about a year ago of them. Basically them printing games, right? And it was Hyperdash Breachers, and now they've zoomed in on the next game, ? And I believe they're going to be showing it off at the VR game showcase. Yeah. But I'm very excited for whatever Triangle Factory has next.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of what you said, I think Jamie Feltham, who is like the main person behind VR gaming showcase, he actually just tweeted out today, I believe, that Triangle Factory will be showing off in there. So yeah, you're spot on. Hyperdash Breachers. What's next? Is it? Do we know it's definitely going to be a new game?
I mean,
by what they've come out with,
by everything that they've shown in this image, yeah, it seems so. Everything's separate. My question is it a shooter? Have they changed genres? Is it multiplayer? Have they gone single player route?
That's true. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, they're very much shooter and multiplayer from the last 2 games that they've put out, so we'll see.
And then the last question, Dan.
Go on.
Eventually, Hyperdash went free to play. Will Breachers eventually go free to play?
Maybe. It depends on the numbers. I don't know. I think Breachers are doing really well, to be honest. But
I agree.
Hyperdash came out in 2021. Breachers came out in 2023. 2025 is every 2 years right now. They've been adding a game. It's
a good pace.
It's a good pace for sure. Great news hot off the press. All right, that will do for part 1. Part 2, we're going to tell you why we love VR. And a nice little topic here for you. So we'll see you in part 2.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic. feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2. This is LTO 175, and we're going to talk about what we love about VR. I think we've had a few episodes recently, especially the last 2, and also we've gone into issues, we've gone into what we want to improve, we've got into stuff that we were scared of, i.e. what the Quest 4 is going to look like in Horizon. So, judging from that, you might be like, why do we do a VR podcast? Well, it seems like we don't like what we see. And there's definitely stuff that we don't like what we see for sure, but there's also a lot of reasons why we love VR, and that's why we do this podcast on a weekly basis, as well as all of you listening as well. That always helps all the time. So let's go. I'll kind of split this into 2 halves. So one half, we're going to go into what made us fall in love with VR to begin with. Most of you who've listened to this podcast, especially if you listen to the one with Reese from Games of Tea and the Cross Button VR podcast, that was LTO 171, 172, something like that, around that area. We talked about a bit about origin stories and such like that. So I'm not talking about origin story, but when do we truly go, oh yeah, this is actually really good and we really enjoyed it and such. And then the second part of this, we're going to go into our current experiences. So what do we love about it now? And we'll have 2 or 3 different things here as well. And before we get into this, I want to hear from you guys too. You're putting a lot of comments in and such. Okay, it'd be great to hear from you, either in the Discord, YouTube, Spotify. I'm not sure if I've said that enough. Let us know, when you first fell in love with VR and what currently we really like about it. So,
Wait. Where can people comment again?
I think it was Spotify, Discord, and YouTube. Okay,
and the email.
And the email if you really want to do. And Samson's setting up a pigeon as we speak.
No, P.O. box.
Right. P.O. box, right. Yeah.
People have P.O. boxes, Dan. I know. It's not crazy.
I know. All right. Samson, why don't you start? Let's start with the past experiences there. What is the past experience that you can think of that made you fall in love with VR?
Yeah. So my first few months of VR, mostly Beat Saber here and there, and then pandemic hit. Right? Because I got it
Quest 1,
right? I got Quest 1 Black Friday 2019.
Yeah.
So just a few months before pandemic. And then as I looked for more games during this time, I found Deasim, which is sort of that god simulator where the world just sort of comes up beneath you and you try to evolve civilizations, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty hooked on both those games. I couldn't really stick in that thing for longer than an hour or 45 minutes to an hour. And then Quest 2 came out and really took off, specifically with 11 table tennis, Walkabout, and then Synth Riders. And really, as previously mentioned, I've always loved couch co-op multiplayer games, and VR really brought that feeling that I got from those games, and it brought that to me in situations where I no longer needed to be physically with those people to have those experiences. And I know online gaming exists. I play Rocket League. It's all cool. Yeah. But the difference to VR is presence. In Breachers, when you make a kill, you are your own emote, right? I can squat physically. I can dance. Well, I can't dance, but if I could dance, I could dance.
Yeah.
And when someone takes a shot in golf, you see their reaction, right? When I miss a putt, you see me slam my putter into the fake wall, or you see
we see it.
Yeah, sag my head. Good or bad, it's a beautiful thing, and it really is peak multiplayer gaming. And so ultimately, that's what made me fall in love with VR. Was was the presence it gave me to really hang out with the people I love in a new way that felt very special.
Yeah, I love that answer, to be honest. I think very similar to you. Well, obviously my journey started a bit later with the Quest. It was Quest 2 when I picked it up, but I think it was just like kind of what you said in terms of the presence, but also just the amount of immersion that you get from a VR title. I think back when, and at that time as well, I wasn't playing too many flat screen games. I was kind of like not losing interest, but just didn't really play that much like I used to and such. And I think this really got me back into like just gaming on a regular, shall we say. And for some reason, I mean, not for some reason, it's obviously clear with all the way VR is and the immersion. I think when games do it right, like a Walking Dead Saints and the Sinners, for example, or a Medal of Honor on PC at the time, when I had the PC set up and such, I could just get really into it, like really, really into it. And because you don't see anyone around you as well, because you're in the game as well, so it's just you and you're in your room and whatnot and such. You can really get into it, and it's so much fun because it feels like you're playing the character, right? It's so different to flat screen, where you know, obviously you're playing the character flat screen, but it's a different kind of feeling. You're like controlling someone where you are in the game. You are really in the game, and you are in this zombie apocalypse, or you're on this battlefield, or such like that. And it really feels like that, even with like early VR Quest 2 titles. You know, people, you know, obviously not people in our community, but people outside. Some people go like, oh, Quest 2, very mobile VR and such. It's nothing like PC and such. But it when you have like big games like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, they're so immersive. It doesn't matter. It's so immersive that it doesn't matter if it's not like cutting edge graphics. You can lose yourself in that game. So it's definitely that game in particular. Like I said, Medal of Honor on the PC, which also eventually obviously came to Quest later on. And then just like you were saying with the social VR, I remember playing Walkabout quite a bit, but I was really into Proper as well on that one, because the Walkabout...
that was one I did play too.
Yeah, like what ProPut's now Golf Plus, for those of you who don't know, if you're newer to the VR scene. But ProPut and Walkabout were somewhat similar. Like Walkabout was your more like crazy golf in a way, and ProPut was more like mini golf, shall we say, in a way, like where like it's more normal courses.
It was like putting.
It was just like putting on normal golf courses.
It was like if you had normal courses, but everything was putting.
Yeah, exactly, right. And at that time, I mean, I don't jump into the public lobbies in Walkabout. I'm sure they're absolutely fine. But I don't anymore, because we play, you know, with the Discord community and such, or together and whatnot. So I don't need to. But when I went back in Quest 2 days, the Walkabout public lobbies were okay. There was like a few, you know, there was plenty of people playing, but in terms of interaction, talking to people, my experience, not too many. Where with Proper, I'd play with just like one person, for example, and we'll get into like a really good conversation. And you could tell like the people playing Proper at the time were more like older, shall we say? Yeah, and more social. So like mics were off and such. And at that time, probably now I'm not as keen as much to keep my mic off off when it's like public VR, but back then, like so much more. And just really fun to like interact with people. And 11 table tennis was very similar to that as well. So one more thing I just wanted to quickly shout out to, back then as well, doing a lot of fitness VR was really fun. And I don't mean like Supernatural and such. I'm talking like Thrill of the Fight. Like Thrill of the Fight, I got into almost every day. It was so much fun. And because we had like a little dining room that we converted into a little gym during COVID. So when I say little gym, there was just like, there's no dining table, nothing. There was just like a yoga mat on the floor and then some weights on the side. So you could just push those weights aside, but then you had like a good dining room space for the Thrill of the Fight. And it was so much fun to play. You'd sweat so much. And yeah, what a game. What a game. I can't wait for the next one, to be honest. But yeah, that was definitely the past experiences. That's just that immersion that you can just lose yourself in those games. All right. Sam, so let's talk about the current experiences. Okay, I think what I kind of wrote down was like maybe 3 things that you love, but whatever. If you have more things, you can talk about more things if you wanted to, or so. What are like the current, like right now, Quest 3 that you really love about VR? Oh, I can't hear you.
So the 3 things are, Dan, that first of all, I'm a fairly competitive person. And so I love how it simulates things that I can compete in, but brings them all in one spot, so to say. Like golfing, as previously mentioned, bowling, pool, table tennis. I can like compete with these things from the comfort of my own home.
Yeah.
Next up is the second thing is how it's connecting me with people, giving me friendships with people, folks that I'd have really no way of meeting otherwise, which is really happens, I guess, with anything you do. But the difference is, Dan, these people are really fucking fantastic. And then pass-through is really just a game changer, and I think really should be a part of everybody's first time in the headset. It's not necessarily for all the time, right? But it has its time and place, and it is a glorious time and place. It's very convenient for certain things. For example, booting. I love that it boots into pass-through, right?
Yeah.
When I like that games that sort of have their
like logo and such.
Yeah, their logo and stuff
screen.
in the splash screen, exactly. It's great. It's great.
I think all games should have the splash screen, to be honest. As the I'm playing Trover Saves the Universe, and we'll talk about that in part 3. And because that's just an older game, it's just black screen for so long as you're waiting for it to, and you're like hoping it's working, and you hear music and you're like, okay, it's working and such. But then when you play something like First Encounters, for example, you just put that on, and obviously that's a mixed reality game, but it does just it feels more seamless when it is boots into pass through first. So I agree with you.
What are your 3 things?
Similar again. The social walkabout sessions as a highlight for me, playing with obviously the community and yourself and such. So it kind of ties into what you said in terms of connecting with different people. Obviously, us doing a VR podcast is a little bit different as well, because we connect with even more people through this, and then having a community in the Discord. So that obviously helps quite a lot with that. But I think because in VR, you are, like what you said in terms of your past experiences, there's the presence. It makes a big difference in socializing. I mean, you can socialize in normal VR, flat screen gaming and such like that, but it's just not the same. When VR, like, it feels like the person is actually there because you can see them, whether it's their avatar or something like that. But it feels like you can have a conversation with them, and it's just like you're having it face to face and such, or like in person. And I think that makes a big difference. And it's been nice to I sometimes connect with my uncle, for example, through VR. And that's the only time we kind of talk, unless I'm at home, it's just through VR. And it's pretty cool when that does happen, to be honest. Because it just, like I said, it feels like we're just in the same room and we're just chatting, rather than me on FaceTime or
Zoom.
It's different. It's one day, obviously, when VR gets better and better and more of a norm, it'll be, I can see what Apple are doing with that, and it's eventually we'll get into that place. But right now, it's still really fun to meet people. It's a really good way to do it. Right now, I actually really like the Quest hardware. The lenses are amazing. How sharp they are, and how I remember playing the PSVR 2 and obviously on the Quest 2 as well, with the old lenses. They're fine, but when you go into a Quest 3, you realize how much better they are, because they're sharper, but also it's the sweet spot for me. Where on PSVR 2, it was kind of hard to find the sweet spot, and Quest 2, it wasn't bad. But with Quest 3, it's like, nope, it doesn't matter. It's just you're always in the right position because of the lenses. That's what I really love, because of how easy it is and such. And of course, there's like improvements that can be done with the hardware and such. With comfort can always be better and all that stuff. But I think the Quest 3 is such a solid headset hardware wise. I think they've done a really good job with it. I think it looks pretty good too. It's nice and slim, and it's a really good headset, and that's what I really like about it, because it just makes me want to just put it on. It's not like a really big bulky headset or anything like that. Like, it's really easy to put on, and I'm in. Obviously, there's software issues, but we're not talking about that today. We've already spoken about that on different podcasts. And then my third thing is I wrote down immersiveness, and we kind of talked about that on the past experiences already. But the other thing I want to mention is the futuristic idea of using VR, right? Like, we all, as players, we all know what it was going to look like in the future, okay, in a way. Like, we can see what Apple are kind of doing. We can see eventually what VR is probably going to end up being like. But then being an early adopter in that still, even though it's, we've had 3 iterations of this headset in particular, but being still, it feels like an early adopter of it. It's just cool. It's just like, it's cool tech and such. And it's I know there's loads of bumps in the road, but like, when I've done stuff like done a bit of work in VR with the screens and such, like, it's not there yet, but eventually it will be. It probably is on Apple Vision Pro, sure, but obviously that's so expensive, right? But right now it's not there on a more consumer friendly headset, but it's just really cool that you can kind of do stuff like that. When we've hung out in big screen and you have like this, the cinema screen. I was in the cinema yesterday and I was just sitting there and I was like, this cinema feels very much the same as like if I was in big screen. It's kind of weird because I'm in the theater, but it feels like if I was on the VR headset. It's how good and close it is now. So I think being a part of the excitement of where this tech is going to go, and just being in the early adopter. And it's at a stage right now that it doesn't feel much like an early adopter because it is getting more and more mature. But that's always fun. And I always like being a part of that and trying up the new things. And when things do work, when you have a game like Batman and it does come out, when you have an experience or like a Quest TV, JFK Memento, something like that, where it does hit the mark of like, oh, this is exactly what I was always thinking of. It's really freaking good. It's really freaking good and definitely keeps you going. But yeah, that's what
I do agree. It's fun to be on the cutting edge of the tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when
I expect you to get the Valve Deckard.
I don't know, not for that rumored price of $1,200 USD as well. You know what that converts to Canadian dollars? I don't know, but it's so much. No, I would love to get the Steam Deckard at some point, but it just depends. We'll see what happens with the price tag and such like that. But at the same time, I think with the state of VR currently, I think I'm okay with getting a VR headset. Like I obviously would, when the Quest 4 comes out, that would be something that we get, obviously doing this podcast and such. But I think I'm okay with not needing more than one headset for now. I think eventually you're going to have where like Apple Vision Pro-esque is going to be lower enough where it makes sense to have that and have your like primary gaming one, because they do 2 different things in a way.
You have a Steam Deck and you have a PlayStation, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. So
and a Switch, or you used to have a Switch.
Technically,
you have a family Switch.
Yeah, we have a family Switch. So yeah, no, I can see that in the future, but I think right now, I think I'm with the amount of games that come out and such, and it seems like Meta are the only people who are really investing in the bigger games as well. We spoke about Horizon Worlds, but we're thinking about Batman, but they do come out with some of the big AAA ones as well. I think I'm happy with just staying on the Quest platform. I think even with the Deckard coming out, as much as I love the idea of it, I think I was also doing the same with the PlayStation. And when I got the PSVR 2, yes, I was a bit disappointed in it, but it was more because I've already got a Quest and I just couldn't justify having 2 when I was, at that time.
Well, the Deckard would also replace your Steam Deck.
Yeah, potentially. I just got the deck though.
I think that it'll be able to run all deck verified games.
I think so. Yeah, I think so because of the way the controller layout is. Yeah. I think for sure. But I'll maybe one day, but I won't be rushing. I'll let you do that if you want to go.
I'm not rushing either. I'm Polish.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, that'll do for part 2. Like I said, let us know in the comments why you love VR and some of the experiences that you really like about it. In part 3, we'll talk about what we've been playing this week and the games out this week as well. So we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, what we've been playing in games out this week. Samson, let you start. What have you been playing this week?
Yes, as previously mentioned, I had a few folks over, so I got into VR Giants. Had one friend on my computer, and I was in VR. We played through a few levels. He had a pretty good time.
What is VR Giants? I don't think I've heard
I
this.
couldn't get my controller to work, though, so I had to have him play on the keyboard. VR Giants is a VR player. It's a puzzle platformer. VR player is a giant, and you're sort of stationary, but you can move in place, obviously. You've got to move blocks around or block things or help your little friend who's playing on a controller or keyboard who is playing your basic platformer. They can jump, run, things like this, and you're trying to get to the end of the level and find sheep.
This is a PC VR game, so it's like local co-op kind of thing. So yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea.
You can also play remote play. I've played with Amelia, friend of the show, Patreon also.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Good friend of the show, some might say. Then we got into Takelings, which is also a sort of couch co-op multiplayer game where you can have up to 8 people who are little borrower characters, and the VR player is trying to capture and kill them in various hilarious ways. We got through one round, and then the game crashed. So
that was it.
Go figure.
Yeah, that was fair.
Go figure. I was running into a lot of friction this whole day, VR and not.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't get any of my PlayStation controllers to sync to the PC, so I just went straight Xbox. It was a lot going on.
Oh my gosh. Your dedication when people are over, then you're willing to keep doing it. Yeah.
Then I got a bunch of people into Gran Turismo 7. All enjoyed it. Kai even said it was his best driving sim he'd done in VR.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've played it and it's amazing. I understand.
Yeah. Well, and they all did it with the wheel too.
Nice.
Which honestly, I prefer it with a controller, I think.
Yeah.
I prefer the wheel with Galaxy Kart, but here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing, Dan. It's because I feel like I drive all day for work. I know what it feels like to drive.
Yeah.
And using a controller wheel, at least the controller wheel I have, it doesn't feel like I'm quite driving as simmy as it should in that game. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I just got to gamify this with it. I love how it feels with the controller, the haptics,
with the haptics.
And all that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I understand. Yeah, I think this was more of your situation.
I should get used to it more though. I haven't put in that many races with the wheel, but I do really like it for Galaxy Kart. So it's just a hard comparison for me.
Yeah, that's very different. Very different.
Yeah. Moving right along, got into some XStadium because I booted up and I saw that there was a live basketball game on. So I hopped in and I watched a few minutes of that, then watched some highlights. And then you can, in fact, watch these in Horizon Worlds, but then you can't watch in mixed reality and you're forced to watch with other people. Last but not least, got into Walkabout for our tournament Thursdays? And for Thursdays. Got in a bunch of Walkabout. And got into Breachers Friday night. I didn't have time to play too long, but, I got into 2 or 3 control point rounds and looking forward to this Friday. Happy Haptics, Breachers. There's no better combination. It's a 5v5 tactical shooter.
Yep, that's the one. That is the one.
What'd you get into? You want to talk about it a little?
Yeah, I got into Trover Saves the Universe. Now, this game must have came out like years ago, to be honest. It's made from the folks behind Rick and Morty. and you know it immediately when you jump in, not just from the voices, but just from the humor itself. I think you can actually get this game on flat screen as well. I think it is in flat screen, which makes sense. The way you play the game, it's very much kind of like a flat screen game. In fact,
on Switch, GeForce Now, PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, and MetaQuest. Wow.
So, everything. I think this actually came out in 2019. So this actually probably came out on the Quest 1, to be honest. We're going that far back. No, 2020 for the VR version. So for Quest 2. Anyway, Trover Saves the Universe. The way if you've not played this game, I think I got this for like $10 Canadian. Like it was on sale, and I returned BoneLab, and I was like, I want another game to play, and I looked at this one. I was like, oh, this is a game that's always been on my radar. I just have not bought it ever, and I just totally forgot about it. So I bought it. I have one bug that's really annoying, but it's fine. It's that when you go into the game, I can't see the pause screen or like just the menu screen at all. Like it's just black. So I just pressed it was just music for ages, and it was just black. And I was like, so I turned it off, turned it on, and it was the same thing. And I was like, I just pressed the A button.
Were you
and
centered
I just
or something, or yeah?
No, it was just I could hear it, I couldn't see it, and I looked around and I was like, I really can't see it. And then I just pressed the A button, and I just went straight into the game, and then it worked fine. But then every time I press the pause button, it's just black. So I just can't do anything when the pause menu.
So you can't change the settings or anything.
No. So I've got a bit of a bug there. I don't know if it just fixes itself if I just boot it up again, but I tried it twice and there was no issue. There's issues there, but when I'm playing the game, there was no issue at all. This game, I was laughing out loud. I've not laughed this much since playing South Park Stick of Truth, to be honest with you. It's so funny. I'm dying laughing. Almost every single thing that the main person. I don't know if it's Trover who's the main person or you're playing as Trover. I think it is Trover, but the main blue character, shall we just say, he's so funny. He's basically the person who plays Morty in Rick and Morty. He's exactly the same voice. So all I'm doing is I'm thinking him when he's talking, and everything he says is so funny. He's not even trying to be funny he is obviously, but not even like when he as a character, he's like just annoyed at you or something like that. But just the way he says things, it's just I'm dying laughing out. Every other sentence I die laughing, and then all the other characters as well, like all of the people you fight with, they're hilarious. They call you names and all that stuff when you're trying to fight them, and it's quite funny. At the very start, there was like an old man who comes up and he starts like hating on you, and then Trover he just pulls out a random like lightsaber, and he's like, oh, I got a lightsaber, let's beat the hell out of this guy, and then you just start beating, and it's just so funny. It's just a hilarious, like silly comedy game. The game itself is like really straightforward in the end of the day. Like, so if those of you not played it or heard it before, it's a seated, and it's very much like a controller adventure where you're seated. You don't have to move. In fact, you don't have to swivel on your chair because you just use the right stick to move your camera, and then you're actually holding a controller and you're controlling Trover around basically. So you're always
with the normal flat game.
Yeah, it's a platformer in the end of the day. It's just a platformer in the end of the day. And it's just fun because you're like part of the chair people. So in your world, you're just sat on a chair and you're like chair ridden, kind of like a Wall-E kind of thing, but you're chair ridden and everyone's got this controller. And
you can go up.
You can go up. So like eventually when you get into the first proper world, the person who you try and help, who is absolutely hilarious as well, you're trying to knock this guy's house down and such, and you got to get up. But anyway, he gives you a new power where you can go up 2 levels, so you can get like more of a bird's eye view and control Trover as well, which comes in handy. It's just a very simple game. but it's so funny that you'd want to just play it. Like at the moment, I've only played the world and a half, basically, not counting the original, the starting world. So I've not played much, and I'd already give it like 9 out of 10 in terms of a game because it's just so funny. It's so much fun.
You're early, Dan.
I'm early.
I never beat it though, but you're early.
I'm early, yeah, but I'm just saying, just from this little snapshot that I've played, it's such a simple game. It's not like, if it was just a standard game like that, I wouldn't say it was that good, but it's so funny.
It does have some depth, and it's hard to find all those green little guys.
It does, yeah. It is hard. Like the first world that I did, I think I found like 15, 17, something like that, and there was 30 in there. And I was like, I swear I looked everywhere, and I could not find the rest of them, which are like, he says, Trover as well, he says, like, if you collect them all, basically he'll get really, really high when you do collect them all. But then when you do get them, he says, right at the end of the game, he promised you something special. But you have to collect them all, which is really interesting. So yeah, I'm early. So right now it's very basic, but it's so, like I keep saying, it's so funny that it's worth playing. Like if you've not played this game, obviously if you put on Rick and Morty and you're like, oh, I don't like this humor at all, then you're not going to like this humor. And I wouldn't say I'm a Rick and Morty fan. I just haven't watched many of the episodes. I've seen like 4 or 5. I've not seen many, just because it's not easy to get it in Canada, to be honest. But so I've not really seen that many. But that humor is so funny. It's kind of like South Park in the way. It's like so stupid. It's just absolutely stupid.
Is it really that hard to get in Canada?
It is. I don't know if it is now, but I've always had trouble to find it. It's always been on like cable TV and such. So I actually don't know where it's on now. It might be changed now, but I actually haven't looked for it.
At least you got Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, we do. That's hilarious too. That's hilarious. Yeah, if you have like any of that kind of humor, then you're gonna like Trover Saves the Universe. So I would recommend it, and it's a really straightforward game because it is just a platformer. It's not too complex at the moment. There's no movement. Sorry, I see on Rick and Morty you can stream it in Canada via Stack TV on Amazon. So it's a specific.
There you go. Everybody has that.
I don't have that. I don't have that, so that's the problem. But anyway, so Trover Saves the Universe. I'll talk about it more when I've played more, but it's a good game when you don't have to do much movement, for sure. All right, let's get on to the games out this week. Samson, we got 4. Do you want to start off?
Dan, just letting you know that in June 2021, Stack TV and Chorus had just over 600,000 subscribers.
Okay, fair enough.
There you have it.
Not me.
Games out this week, yes?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
The first one?
Yeah, I think
Farming Simulator.
Go on.
VR. In a relaxing, hands-on experience, Farming Simulator VR brings you closer to the soil. Cultivate your fields with yielding crops like corn, wheat, and soy. Operate authentic agricultural machinery by renowned manufacturers directly in the cabin of powerful tractors. Grab repair tools to maintain your vehicles and their parts in the workshop. Tend to vegetables in the greenhouse. And don't forget to keep your machine sparkling clean with the pleasure of power washing. Nice. And you don't even get paid.
No, you don't. Are you into this type of game at all? I know you're into power washing, but I don't know if you're into simulator.
Dan, I'm into the idea of power washing.
It's fair, yeah.
I didn't play a lot of it.
Yeah, I think we discovered that last time, actually.
So I am not into this. I feel like there are some simulator games I have gotten into, but I'm not into a lot of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. I think it's too much of a time commitment on my part. So yeah, I'm going to leave that one. The next game I'm really excited for, though, I think this could be cool. It's called All on Board. That's board spelled like you would think of it if you say All on Board. Anyway, All on Board is a revolutionary tabletop platform built from the ground up specifically for VR, created by and for board game enthusiasts. As the only platform natively built for VR, All On Board fully exploits the capabilities of virtual reality to deliver an unmatched board gaming experience. This includes a predictive selection and positioning of board elements while enjoying realistic physical interactions close to real life. A unique platform that is constantly evolving, both functionally and in its game catalog, packed with beloved franchises among board game enthusiasts. That was a interesting readout there. There was a lot about loving VR in that one, of how interactions you can do, but also loving board games. Samson, this is great. This looks like something that we should play as a community.
Well, Dan, I've got good news for you.
Go on.
I own it.
No, you do.
I do.
Nice.
I was an early Kickstarter supporter to this one.
Oh, tell me more.
Way back in, let's see, looks like I backed it in July of 2022.
Sick. Have you played it then?
Yeah, but just like an early beta, alpha build, even before beta. And
cool.
I didn't really have very many people to play with, so I was like, all right, I'll just wait. This seems like it will eventually come out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to now get in, see what it is.
So in terms of the catalog, they're going to get more and more, but right now they have games like Terraforming Mars, The Hunger, Istanbul, Escape the Dark Castle, Rallyman, and The Binding of Isaac 4 Souls available on day one. I have no idea what any of those games are. I know The Binding of Isaac in terms of like the actual video game, but I don't know the board game at all.
I also do not know them.
No, but do you know what's really cool? So obviously it's in VR. You can have like people around in the tables, and I think it's in mixed reality as well, which is really cool. And it seems like, you know, the cards can come on your wrist, like in Demia and such and whatnot. Anyway, a couple of really cool things. One, it's crossplay, so if you're on PC or Quest, it still works. But the other thing is that they have in-game video tutorials, so you know, you can just watch a video tutorial within there if you don't know what to play.
Very nice.
Yeah, and yeah, so the licensed board games in there, I've not heard of any of them, but they're on their website. They kind of go through each one. Okay, I'm surprised they don't have like some like classic rip-offs in a way, in terms of that. But maybe they want like original, like proper content in there. But yeah, really, really cool. And only in terms of the licensed games, only one person needs to have the game, and everyone else can play, just like
Walkabout.
Oh wait, they do have classic ones, so you can play chess in there. You can play checkers. You can play Go, and you can play Parcheesi, which I don't know. Parcheesi. There you go. So you can play them, and all of those. Yeah,
it looks like they'll have free bundles.
Yeah, so they're free, but all of the like board games I just said, they're all like DLCs. So like one person can buy them, and then the rest of it, everyone else can play them with you.
Yep.
Very cool. Let's definitely try that one out. All right, you'll go.
Detective VR is a narrative investigation in mixed reality. You can control time, collect clues, and interview witnesses in pass-through. The investigation takes place in your living room. Explore unreliable testimonies and confront suspects to find out what happened.
I'm pretty sure I've played this game on early access. I think I talked about it on the show a while ago. It looks very familiar.
Were you impressed?
I was, actually. So in the early access, there was only one game, that one like mystery that you could solve, and it was mixed reality, so that your whole room turns into the crime scene in a way. But then you see the NPCs come in there, and you have to find the clues around your room. It's not obviously huge, but then once you find all the clues, you can kind of figure out who did it, and then at the end you choose who did it, and if you got it wrong, then you've lost and you've got to do it again, essentially.
You can't just keep guessing.
No, you just choose one at the end, and then and such. So really I just remember the it'd be really cool because it was in mixed reality at the time. But like I said, it was only early access. It was only one, so I can't quote properly on that.
Dan,
so.
5 hours of story-driven gameplay, 1 story, 6 characters, 11 sequences to explore.
Yeah, it's expensive too, though. It is like
it's $30 USD, $23.99 for pre-order.
Yeah, it's $30. Like it's yeah, but it's a cool concept because you're in.
It looks
mixed reality.
well, like high quality, at least in these.
Yeah, it does.
It's like motion captured. Oh yeah, and on their website they show it being motion captured. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, yeah. So I'd check this one out. I might wait for this to see what other people's reviews are and maybe for sale. But I think this would be a cool one to do. Okay, last one. Hidden Pictures Agent Q. You are Agent Q, a veteran of the Elite Force BARD. Let's do the whole alphabet. Defending the galaxy's peace from space pirates. Protect the precious galaxy orbs scattered across miniature planets from the notorious space pirate Termai. Termai. Dive into the world of adventure puzzles. Gear up with your sleek watch. Hop into your agent car and traverse the stars. Another mixed reality game. Samson, this looks like in your wheelhouse. It looks quite cute. It looks very relaxing. My wheelhouse. Yeah, if you look at the screenshots, it kind of gives me the walls game. I forget what it's called. Kind of like
Wartown Wonders.
Wartown Wonders. Yeah, kind of give me that kind of vibe to it, but it has puzzles and such. It looks another game that looks really good and cheap. It's only about 10 USD as well.
This one is the pre-order is $17.99 USD.
It's $15 Canadian, so maybe we get it cheaper on this side of the world.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's weird. But yeah, it looks really good. Like it looks really polished. It's cool in mixed reality. I'm curious.
It's just all curious. Like yeah, it does look like a lot of mini games. I see.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in Detective VR, I'll be honest, but this one also is looking pretty polished.
Very polished and also cheap, right? Or at least in Canada. I don't know why it's in the US it's more, but I don't know. But yeah, all 4 games. I mean, Farming Simulator probably the exemption of that one. The other 3 are looking pretty solid. I'd probably want to check out them, to be honest. Samson, all right, that will do for this week's podcast. We're at the end of LTO 175. Thanks for everyone who sent in comments, who listen, who watch. Obviously, your support means everything to us and keeps us going every single week. Join the Discord. The link's in the description, as we mentioned before. Let us know what you love in VR, and we'll see you next week. I've been Dan. The guy over there has been...
I've been Sam.
Whoa, I was not expecting that. Excellent. I love it. All right. Good night, everyone.